So this is a September 2nd, 2022 channeling, the message to Lightworkers for today. And today I'm channeling from John Lennon, and you can find the transcript on my website. I've channeled from John a few times, and this time I'm just asking him about what's going on in the world because it's just a difficult time for millions of people. So I start out saying, "Greetings, John. It's been a while since we spoke, at least in written form." And he says, "Greetings, friend, and to all, happy to speak." And so what is the issue? And I tell him the issue is that we're having to deal with very intense earth situations right now. Yet we are feeling and seeing more than ever the presence of our Star Nation's families, the closeness of Nasara, the vibrations of this planet, and in humanity moving up to an increasingly higher level. And I point out that a White Knight of the Ashtar Command has reported recently that basically the energies being unleashed on this planet to help us ascend are being sent in as powerfully as possible without reducing us to shreds. And John says, completely true. I wouldn't argue with that. So I say it means we're being stretched further than we ever have been energetically, with obvious intense effects on the mind, body, emotions, and spirit. Politically, we've got a Handmaid's Tale happening here in the U.S., and economically, millions starving in various places, dealing with war or losing their homes to flood or fire if they didn't already lose their jobs and income from the pandemic. And so John answers, I want to be annoying right now to say, isn't it great? The old system falling to pieces. It's what you've waited for. It's what I waited for most of my life in that last turn upon the earth. And I answer him and say, yes, and you helped to speed things along that way. And we are thankful for that. And it does signal the end of the old regime, but it's still very, very hard on a lot of people. And John says, yet Nasara looms. And once it comes forth, the situations you mention, whether war or hunger or climate disaster or poverty or all of it, gone, either immediately or after a few weeks' time. It leaves one wondering, I say, what other extreme measures will be taken by the old power crowd so they can kid themselves there's still a way for them to hold on to their crown and scepter. And John says there isn't, and they know that. So I say, yet these are people gifted in the art of lying to themselves and their minions. And John replies, they cannot lie to their overlords, who are being escorted off the planet, by the way. So I ask, well, how are they still in control, the old hierarchy? And John says, well, for one, and you've heard this before, the masses are somewhat holding on to a lot of the old earth construct out of preference for what is familiar, and out of fear that whatever comes next might not give them even the hard and unsatisfactory life that they've had for millennia. So many are thinking, albeit subconsciously, there are so many changes happening. What if the new structure I intuitively feel coming in is not as good as the last one? And I hate change. What is going on? It's too unsettling. And I answer, yes, I do sense that. So John says, you've heard others on this side of the fence say the same. So then I ask, how do we offer these ones who are frightened of change such beautiful vision that they happily release all entrainment to the old earth oppression and inequality, so that they happily reclaim their sovereignty and stop feeling it's safest to be ruled by the old hierarchy? Because the old hierarchy tends to feel we're just cannon fodder, and they're always loading the cannon. And John answers, well, people have been trained for millennia to see the mistreatment they suffer as being, quote, for the greater good of all. They don't see injustice half the time because they're too afraid to think independently. And that's gotten too many people crucified over the years, thinking independently. So what remains is for these higher energies and everyone's higher self to reach breakthrough. And he spells that with a capital B. And that point That's the point at which they awaken to the moment where they see that there are far higher ways of living than what Earth's people are currently experiencing. And oddly, all the extreme weather, the natural and designed disasters, and the climate shifts are helping to awaken those who are willing to be awakened. And I will say that though every single peaceful light worker wants to believe that everyone they know will be brave enough to step aboard the ship of awakening, some have shut their eyes to it, imprisoned by the old programming or their own infant souls. I feel they will come forward when ready, but it cannot happen before then. And I ask, is that because of free will? And John says, that's the kind of planet we all chose to experience. Yes. And I say that I can grasp that everyone has their own path to walk. And I know we cannot interfere with that. If the archangels can't intercede unless the path is laid for that, unless we call them in with great power, then simple humans can't interfere. And John says, but that's the odd part, friends. You can interfere in the sense that you speak to and of other people as if they were already fully enlightened, fully awake. You energetically call to that part of them that would love to wake up and see the truth and feel emboldened in that moment to remember who they really are. You can do that. It's what all of us in the higher planes have been doing, speaking to you all etherically, as being with us, one of us, in alignment with your higher selves. Stand on a street corner and yell at people to wake up, and they'll never do it. They'll cross the road to get away from you. Speak to them as if you were honored to meet them. Speak to the light within them and know it's there, and they will either love you to bits for it and want to awaken all the more, and then I break in and say, or run in the other direction because they aren't ready. And John says, but at least you gave them the platform on which to expand and become ready. Don't think it's all down to us here in the upper dimensions. It's always down to all of you. You wrote it that way. And I ask, we created this intentionally? And John says, it's a very high path. Love people where they are and speak to their higher aspect as if they had already evolved into that. And you were on a path of real mastery. And I say, wow, how beautiful. And he says, yes, call upon the Ashtar command. Call upon the archangels and ascended masters. They're not just here for light workers. They speak to all. Tell them you are as a planet ready to ascend. And you will willingly call in their assistance on every level, including active intervention to assist humanity, enact Nasara, and to actively dismantle the old corrupt earth structures. Many of these beings are physically on the ground now, as you know. They're doing all of the above and more. They have never turned their backs on humanity. They were awaiting the invitation to help you and break through the matrices of religion, media, government, so-called education, all of it. So I say, and in all of this, we are never alone. And John says, that is so. We are all of us here to assist. Namaste, friends. Call upon us. Our wisdom is here for the taking, and our love flows to you, all at every moment. And I reply, thank you, my friend. And John says, bowing to everyone, at your service, always.